The launch readiness review has been declared successful and the launch vehicle has been transferred to the launch pad. The launcher is fueled and the DDO has just announced the start of the synchronized phase.
Well, welcome back. Joshua Jampel here in the broadcast booth. We're going to take a look at the green status panels. They'll be coming up on the screen in just a moment. On the right-hand side, fine shots of the space base by our drone. We're excited about this new technology which has come to the CSG. Green status panels, a real-time summary of all the launch activities here at the base, the launcher, the satellites, but also services like telemetry, radar, safety, the weather, and the ground facilities. We check them before lifting off. They tell us about the readiness of the systems involved, and we go when all are ready and not before. And you can see that is the case. All are green and go for the launch. Some 1,700 people working around the base tonight. They're from 40 different companies and 9 different countries. Our cameras are here in Jupiter, but many others busy at other sites across the range, like this one. This is the launch zone, where the launch management teams are working under the direction of the Launch Campaign Operations Manager. Today, Philippe Ers and Patrick Lucet. Their day began at 7:30 this morning with the first operations. Right now, several teams are working up there. One's responsible for the ground operations, the other for readiness of the Ariane vehicle. The Launch Campaign Operations Manager heads up one group. He coordinates with Mission Control for final authorization to launch. When all the conditions are right, he then okays the automatic sequence at the -7-minute mark, which we saw a few seconds ago. In all, about 100 people up there hard at work in launch control, going over the final checks on all parts of Ariane's launch system. Coming up on 2 minutes until launch of the 97th Ariane 5. And here in Jupiter, the VIPs and the guests have begun to make their ways outside to watch the liftoff. There are 2 terraces on either side, gives a fine view. This split-screen image shows the propellant feeder arms in the middle of the launcher, liquid hydrogen on the left, liquid oxygen on the right. They're putting propellant into the upper stage tanks, and you'll see these arms pull back at 7 seconds before ignition. You see the bars there, the yellow bars, going into the upper stage. It's one of the last things you'll see before liftoff, so we just like to take a minute and point it out. Minute and a half to go till the first launch of the year for Arianespace. All the tests and the campaigns to ready the launcher and the satellites are over. Everything that has had to be done has been done. You're going to hear the DDO call out the 1-minute mark.
Attention pour moins A0 moins 1 minute.
DDO calling out the final minute.
Top A0 moins 1 minute.
So we are into the final 60 seconds. Give us a chance to say hello to our friends at SES in Luxembourg, our friends at Yasat Abu Dhabi, to the Airbus Defense and Space teams in Toulouse, to the orbital teams in Virginia, to our industrial partners, ESA and CNES, and to all of you following on the internet. We hope you're enjoying it. If you're not settled in, pull up a chair and enjoy. We're going to cut away, let you listen to the DDO, and he'll call out the final seconds.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité, top. Allumage moteur Vulcain. Allumage EAP, top décollage. La propulsion est nominale.
The DDO says all is normal, and you saw it, 1920 local time, and right on time, Ariane 5 began her mission, lifting off from the ground here in French Guiana with a lot of fire, heading into the clouds with 2 new satellites.
La propulsion est nominale.
The two boosters are providing 90% of our thrust right now, propelling the launcher along her trajectory at an ever higher velocity.
Les paramètres bord sont conformes à l'attendu.
773 tons at liftoff. And to get that sort of mass off the ground, you need a lot of push, and push we have. She's burning 5 tons of fuel per second, 2.5 tons per second in each booster. And the core stage is burning another 300 kilos of fuel per second. Fine shots of Ariane 5 rising into the sky. She looks just like a comet. Ariane 5 now following the program in the onboard computer, as the DDO says, all is normal on board, which gives the orders including stage separations, which we'll soon see. We're in the first of 4 flight phases. We'll describe each in turn so you can follow Ariane as she heads east across the Atlantic. Right now, the first flight phase, the single first stage engine and the 2 boosters are burning. The boosters will each consume their 240 tons. In just over 2 minutes, in about 15 seconds, they will be extinguished, and you'll hear that from the DDO. This first flight phase using both cryogenics, very cold fuel, and storable propellant, cryogenic propulsion, offering certain advantages, reignitable, more precise performance. And we move to the animation. In just about 2 seconds, you'll see the booster separation.
Séparation, étage, accélération à poudre.
Confirmed by the DDO. They will fall 500 kilometers from the shore in a protected area. A nice shot of it there on the onboard camera. There's another booster on the port side, of course, out of camera range. On the bottom of your screen, on the left our altitude, on the right our speed. Speed we need for satellite separation, roughly 9 kilometers per second. That's 9,000 kilometers an hour. You see where we are, just over 2 kilometers an hour. We have a ways to go. So keep your eyes on the numbers, and when we near the region of 8-9 kilometers per second,
Le pilotage est calme.
you know we will be getting close to separation. We're getting close to separation of the fairing, which is next up. That's the pointed nose cone on the right of the composite. You can see the logos on the outside of the fairing placed there by the customers. That's something of a tradition. There's separation on time.
Bagage de la coiffe.
Confirmed by the DDO. And on the onboard camera, you see there's another half which falls away again out of camera range on the starboard side. Revealing to the elements our first passenger, SES-14. That's the blue and gold box on the right. We can separate the fairing now because we're out of the dense layers of the atmosphere over 100 kilometers up. There's neither friction nor heating, which could disturb the passengers. We can also discard any dead weight to maximize the launcher's performance. Fairing, remember, weighs almost 2.5 tons, so we can get rid of it now. With its family of launch vehicles, Arianespace is the reference, providing launches of any mass to any orbit at any time. And Ariane 5, of course, the heavy lift launcher, the 2 other members of the family, Soyuz and Vega. Next up in our series of films, one on our first passenger, SES-14.
SES has been a very faithful customer of the Arianespace family of launch vehicles, with more than 40 satellites entrusted to Ariane or to Soyuz. Our launch contract was initially for SES-12. However, 6 months ago, SES decided to launch SES-14 instead of SES-12 on Ariane 5. We were able to accommodate this request in the short time left till launch, in spite of the particularities of SES-14, such as the need for a purging system up to liftoff for the NASA Gold payload on board SES-14. SES-14, built by Airbus Defence and Space in Toulouse, is the second spacecraft in the Eurostar 3000 EOR series to be launched. It will rely on its electrical propulsion system to reach its final orbit, as both satellites on this launch use electrical propulsion, and thanks to the performance available on the Ariane 5 vehicle, we have been able to optimize the delivery orbit and reducing the time needed for the satellite to reach GEO.
On the right, as the DDO says, all is normal, this SES-14. Under that, the black bell-shaped structure is what we call the Silda. That's the carrying structure. Underneath that is our second passenger. We're in the second powered flight phase. the single-engine core stage burning now, the boosters having done their work. All of Ariane's trajectory has been designed to be followed from the ground. The launcher is sending radar and telemetry back, and a network of stations keeps constant watch on the health of all her systems. We'll start receiving that information in just a moment. Telemetry is launch vehicle data, information on 1,500 parameters being collected and transmitted back to the ground. We had a look at our first passenger, now a first look at our second customer, Alia 3.
ESAT contracted the launch of Alia 3 satellite with Arianespace in September 2014. A year later, mission analysis was initiated. Main objective was to consolidate the launch mission profile with the satellite-specific features. Alia 3 is manufactured by Orbital ATK and is based on the new Star3 platform. It is the first of its kind to be launched with Ariane 5. Throughout the years, ESAT has maintained regular exchanges between Orbital ATK and Arianespace to prepare the launch campaign and refine the launch mission. In summer 2016, Alia 3 was allocated the SES-14 ESCO passenger. The overall mass of the two satellites remains well below Ariane 5 lift capability. To benefit from Ariane 5 full performance, a specific injection strategy is implemented for this launch. With Alia 3, ESAT will increase their in-orbit fleet to 3 satellites, thereby confirming their role as a global operator in government and commercial communications.
We will soon be picked up by our first downrange tracking station located in Natal over the border in Brazil. The Brazilian Defense Department runs the station for CNES in an agreement with the European Space Agency. It'll see the lower stage burnout and separation. And what do the ground stations like Natal do with all this information? Well, customers get immediate data on their spacecraft, and that's so important. Some data are analyzed in real time. Others are studied after the flight to learn how the vehicle performed on its mission. A complete analysis is carried out about a week after each launch. So you can imagine the enormous archives this gives Arianespace, a wealth of technical information going all the way back to the first launch of Ariane 1, 1979. We are awaiting confirmation of 3 events: extinction and separation of the lower stage, then ignition of the upper stage. That's due just in about 15 seconds. Everything is all right on board, as the DDO says, the launcher performing flawlessly. Tonight, a standard double launch, 2 communication satellites. As we wait, there you see the cutoff of the lower stage. Separation of the lower stage. And
Séparation EPC.
Ignition of the upper stage. These 3 commands given by the onboard computer in about 13 seconds. So we are now into the third and final powered flight phase, the single upper stage engine that will burn until plus 24 minutes and 44 seconds, or 16 minutes roughly. The job of the upper stage is to take the satellites to their injection point, position them for separation, and then release them. That is its propulsion role. But she also has a second role, and that comes during Ariane 5's ballistics phase. That comes later on in the flight, and we'll have more on that coming up. You're looking at the people from the Alia 3. Alia 3 arrived here in French Guiana November 29th. Hi there. It went right to the satellite preparation buildings here at the CSG, known as S5 for its checks. SES-14 came about a month later, December 22nd.